Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today, I know I'm a little bit late to this story, but I wanted to talk about the 2022 Overwatch League talent. On Monday, the league announced who the talent for the 2022 season would be, so I figured I would talk about it and give you guys my thoughts on this year's talent team. So as they say here, the Overwatch League talent is on hand to guide you through each broadcast with sharp insights, clever wordsmithery, and unmatched knowledge of the game and league. From the caster pairs who break down every minute of the action to the desk analysts who set the stage and key in on the most important details of each match, they're excited to bring you every epic moment of the 2022 Overwatch League season. Meet the English language talent team below. And as we can see here, we have the same desk team from last season. We have, of course, desk host Zoe, and then we have analysts Danny, Custa, and Reinforce. You can see some nice information about them here, kind of their Twitter and their Instagram, as well as some other things like their pets, which is nice to see. Another thing that I love about this, if you have not checked out this website, by the way, I will link it in the description. You can check it out for yourself. But one of my favorite things about this is that not only do they have like this information here, like a kind of like general thing of, Zoe has been doing, hosting and esports analysts, analysis type of stuff for 15 years, right? And she has the heroes she plays, and then her pets, and then Danny's been 1 year, whatever. All this stuff is really interesting. They also have this more about section, which they have really awesome bits of information about them. So Zoe's bio is really interesting, right? Third year of the Overwatch Leagues are pick up responsibilities in main desk host, where she directs conversations, and dissects intricate match strategies and plays alongside the experts on the analyst desk. Swiss commentator, interviewer, and host. Over the past 15 years, she's cast and hosted gaming events and television shows around the globe, covering more than 30 different titles in 3 different languages. She's been a part of the Overwatch League since the inaugural season, assuming the roles of sideline reporter, interviewer, and analyst. And her quote is, "I am going to wear you like a sock." So every single one of them, analysts and casters, has this little bio. So I'm not going to go through every single one of them and read them for you, because that would take a lot of time, and I don't really want to go through and read every single one. But I am telling you right now that that is something that's there. I am more so going to talk about these analysts and casters just kind of from a broader perspective in terms of my thoughts on them, my history with them, my understanding of their qualifications, stuff like that. Stuff that they have done that will help kind of feed into giving you guys some excitement about this 2022 casting team. Because I know there were some doubts and there were some questions and there were some concerns about this casting team and this just overall talent team. But I am going to sit here right now and tell you that this team is incredible. And I mean, this desk was, of course, amazing last year. I thought this group of 4 had a very good dynamic. I think that having Danny on the desk to be someone who can interview players in Korean and in English helps there be an easier, bigger connection between the fans and the players. There is that person who is known. People know Danny, especially people who have been around since 2018, 2019, because he was in the arena. He would interview them. He would kind of get to talk to players then. So some of those older pros got to know him that way. And now it's kind of continuing on that some other players are now getting to know Danny because they interview after the matches. And so that is one of the things for me, at least, that makes Danny such an integral part of this team. And why I think that him being a part of this is so amazing and such a huge step forward for the league. So I was so happy when he joined last year. I'm happy he's back. Custa and Reinforce, of course, the 2 dudes who've been around for now 2 years or 3 years now, I guess, together. I think they're both really, really good. I think you get a lot of good insight from those 2. I think both of them provide a lot. I've been a big fan of them for a while. And so not really much to talk about in that regard because these are people who we've seen. We know these guys. This desk is the same as it was last season. So he does a fantastic job as a host. She provides a ton of insight as well. I thought they were really entertaining as a group last year. Their skits and all that type of stuff was very, very good. They got a good group for that type of stuff. So very excited for the 2022 season with the same desk as we had last year. Definitely excited for it this time around. I'm curious to see what happens when Zoe presumably goes on maternity leave in July. For those who don't know, if you don't know, Zoe is pregnant and having a child. I think in July is when she is having her child. So I'm curious to see if we get like a temporary host like we had with Frankie back in 2020, which I would be perfectly fine with because Frankie is awesome. And if Frankie comes in, that'd be cool. But also we could see someone like Bran or Sideshow come back as a host, or even someone like Golden Boy or Puckett for a little bit. So I'm excited to see what happens, to see who they kind of bring back in that temporary role while Zoe is on her maternity leave. But I guess we will have to wait and see what happens when we get there. But these four are going to carry the desk as it did last year. They're great, they're incredible, they're amazing, and I'm glad we get them back again. Let's move on to the casting pairs. You can see them here. They are left to right, so I'll do the first two here. You can see them all at the top, but we have, of course, Uber and Mr. X, the probably premier casting duo that the Overwatch League has had over the past 4 years, going into their 5th year together. They're both incredible casters. We're used to them by now. We know who they are. We've seen them. They are so incredible as casters. Of course, Mr. X also has a big role in the actual league itself. He is a huge kind of presence as like a head in the league. So him being a caster also really fun. But Uber and Mr. X are probably the best casting duo that the league has had. I was always a big fan of Brennan Sideshow when they started casting, but these two are also very, very good, and I'm excited to see them once again return. They're the same old, we all know them, so not as much to break down here. Next duo is Jaws, who is returning. Of course, he was with Hex his first year, then he was with Vicky Kitty last year, and this year he is going to be commentating alongside Necra. Now, this is the first new face here in this video, so I figured I would hype up Necra a bit. I can pull up her more about as well, just to kind of talk about her, because she's someone who some of you guys may not know super well. But Necra has been commentating contenders for the past several years. I don't know exactly how many, but she's been commentating contenders for at least 2 years. I think it's probably closer to 3. And she does a fantastic job. She's also very, very well known in the Pokemon community. She does a lot of commentary for Pokemon. In fact, if you guys are Pokemon fans and you saw the Pokemon Direct when they announced Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, she actually voiced a lot of stuff in that Direct. So Necra is a very, 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 very well-known person in the Overwatch Contenders community, and like I said, as well as Pokemon. So you can see here, right, Necra is an established esports talent covering a wide variety of games. She started her Overwatch casting career with community broadcasts up through contenders for EU, NA, and China, but even before that, Necra enjoyed competing in Hearthstone and Pokemon. She's excited to continue casting Overwatch with her first season of Overwatch League coverage, and her quote of "Eat, sleep, game, repeat." I also wanted to show the quotes from the other people, because I didn't show them, because there's some good ones on here. Danny's quote is, of course, "Thank you." I don't really know why exactly, but that is his quote. Custa has a very good quote. "You hate to see it, because you do hate to see it." Shout out to Custa back in the day. You hate to see it. And then my favorite quote is, of course, Reinforce. "I cannot believe it. I simply refuse to believe the absolute incompetent negligence of actually, not for any of these categories whatsoever, not voting for Rascal." The greatest Reinforce rant of all time is that one right there. Uber's quote: "Put your damn headset back on, son. You've got a game to play." That was a great one. I don't even remember who he was talking about with that one. I think it's an old school one, but it's a classic. It's a classic Uber quote. Mr. X, you got what? Which, yeah, that's pretty much Mr. X. Jaws has another one of my favorite quotes, which is, "That's a sick effing angle." Now, if you don't know what this one is, back in 2020, there was a match. I don't remember who it even was at this point who was playing, but Jaws was commentating and said, "That's a sick effing angle" on broadcast, and then went very silent for a while when he realized that he just swore on the Overwatch League broadcast. One of my favorite casting moments, one of my favorite broadcast moments in Overwatch League history was that one, because he most definitely was not prepared for that. And moving on to the next couple of duos here, we have Seth Achilleos King and Kevin Avril Walker. One of the best casting duos from last season. I'm a huge fan of both of these casters. I thought last year they were incredible. I thought they did very, very, very well last season. I also love that they both said that they play Sojourn. Like, thanks, guys. We know you don't play Sojourn yet. Stop rubbing it in. But they were, in my opinion, the best duo last season. In the APAC region, when they cast it, I thought it was incredible. I've always liked Achilleos. I've always liked Avril, so them together is very, very good. Achilleos' quote is, "It's just an explosion of death." Very good quote. Avril's quote is, "Lip once again unleashed. I mean, look at him. He's an 8'9" gaming warlord. How do you beat this guy?" Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, Avril. I love Avril. Like I said, I think Avril and Achilleos last year were an incredible duo that we never saw in the Western broadcast because they exclusively cast the APAC matches. So I'm hoping that we will get to see them a little bit more in some of the tournaments. Last year the only people that commentated like the regional tournaments were the Western region casters. So I'm hoping now that we have more specific East region tournaments, we'll actually get to see Achilleos and Avril cast more of those big tournament games. But another duo that I am incredibly excited to listen to as they commentate big matches are Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day. Finally, these two made it to the Overwatch League. I have been a huge fan of Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day for years. For those of you who don't know the history behind these two, Lemon Kiwi honestly has had a long history. She spent a lot of time kind of working in community events. She's had a very strong connection and a very strong relationship with Jane and did a lot of stuff with him before she became a contenders commentator. She commentated the 2019 World Cup alongside Jake. And then when Jaws got the call up to the Overwatch League in 2020, she became paired with Leg Day, who was his former color commentator. And the two of them for the past 2 years have been, in my opinion, the best casting duo in contenders. These two are incredible. And I'm sitting here right now and telling you that I understand if you guys are sad to see some of the legends of the scene like ZP and Doa and like Brennan Sideshow leave the league. And I get it. Right, like ZP and Doa were fantastic. They are two people who have a long history, and it's a shame, and it's kind of almost criminal that those two did not, especially ZP, because the way, Doa may have chosen to kind of move on, but ZP, it seems like he wanted to continue on, did not get kind of the call back. And Brennan Sideshow kind of were in negotiations, but they didn't go the way they wanted them to. But Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day have been grinding. They have been working for years to finally get to commentate the Overwatch League. I'm a little upset that they're going to be predominantly Eastern region. I'm hoping that, like we saw last season, the kind of towards the end of the tournaments where we see the some Eastern region casters come in to cast some Western region games. I'm hoping we'll get to see that with Jen and Harry, Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day, because I think these two are phenomenal. And I hope more Western fans get to hear them, commentate. Definitely watch Eastern region games. I always will push that. But definitely watch these two casts because I think they are phenomenal and I think they're great. And they add so much excitement and value to the game. But Lemon Kiwi's quote is, "Leg Day and I call ourselves the double L casters who serve up L's to teens." And Leg Day, his quote is, "I can't believe my eyes, Lemon." And I'm loving that we're going to get these two in the Overwatch League. I cannot say how happy I am. These two are fantastic, and I am so excited for them to be back in the Overwatch scene and finally in the Overwatch League. Finally, we have the final duo, which is Trid and Vicky Kitty. Vicky Kitty, kind of surprising that we see her come back, of course, after her. She went on Twitter and kind of said that she didn't get any. She didn't hear from the Overwatch League for a while, whether or not she'd be coming back, but she is in fact back, and this time she is paired with Trid, another guy who has been around the Overwatch scene for a long time, has been commentating contenders for a long time, and finally gets the call up to the Overwatch League. Now, as far as we know, I don't know exactly Trid's the only one that's kind of come and kind of publicly said that he's only really there as like a part-time caster. He's going to be primarily casting some of those later kind of in the tournament matches when there's more matches kind of to be played in a weekend. So that's kind of when Trid is going to come in so he can clean that up. So that's going to be Trid, and Vicky's role is predominantly that level of involvement where they're going to be the casters who are there to cast those cleanup matches towards the end of the tournament. They're also both play-by-play casters, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how their dynamic works. They have Trid listed as the one in the play-by-play spot, but both of them are listed as play-by-play. Vicky did play-by-play last year, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I'm excited for this duo. I don't know if they've worked together in the past as a duo. I think they have. I think Vicky has casted with Trid in the past for EU contenders, and then casted with Hurix for NA contenders. So I think they're a duo that have worked together in the past. So I'm excited to see these two work together in the Overwatch League. I'm a big fan of Trid, another British guy taking over the league. With 3 British commentators now? Oh, too many. Too many British commentators. What a shame. But Trid's really good, so I'm happy to see him in the league. Trid's quote is, PBP actually stands for P-Brain Peasant. Thank you, Trid. Very good one. And then Vicky, her quote is, I'm so good, they'll blame the aim assist instead. And there we go. That's very, very good. I am very excited for these commentators. This group is incredible. I know there's going to be some people who have, like I said, there's going to be people who are upset that Brendan Sideshow are gone. There's going to be people upset that ZP and Doa are gone. But when I look at this group and I look at these casters, I think that they have hit it out of the park with some fantastic, fantastic commentators who I am incredibly excited to see in this season of the Overwatch League. When I tell you that these are some of the best commentators in the scene, I am not joking. I think there's always a concern that when they bring in new casters, they're going to bring in people who maybe are not as good as what we're kind of used to, or they're not going to kind of recognize some of the hard work that people in contenders have been putting in. They're going to kind of go elsewhere and find talent from elsewhere and bring them in. The path to pro, as we talk about it, and it's talked about a bunch, it isn't limited to just players, right? It's also limited to... it's also including the casters. People who cast, it's their life, it is their work. They have dedicated their life to trying to become commentators in the big games, in the big leagues. And so when we see Necra and Trid and Vicky, obviously last year, and then Leg Day and Lemon Kiwi get the call up this season for contenders, or from contenders into the Overwatch League, it really makes me happy to see that there is... that the Overwatch community and the Overwatch League is genuinely looking for those people who have put in the work to become really strong commentators in this game. They know the history of this game. These are people who know a lot of these players. And it's one of the things that's really, really nice to see. Because when you have people like Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day who have been casting British Hurricane and American Tornado players for years now, they get to provide some insight into some of these players that you actually don't always necessarily get from the likes of Uber and Mr. X, who have not been watching and casting contenders in the same way that Necra and Leg Day and Lemon Kiwi and Trid and Vicky have. And so you get a ton of really, really, really good insight into some of these players and their histories. And I think that's going to be very exciting. And it's also part of the reason why I want to see people like Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day and Trid and Vicky commentate more of those Western region matches. We do get Jaws and Necra. They're going to be a pretty major duo in the Western region. They're going to be the second duo alongside Uber and Mr. X. And so Necra is a player who does know the history of many of those players. She has commentated them for a long time, so she also can provide some of those insights, and she's a color commentator as opposed to a play-by-play commentator, so she is going to be providing a lot of that kind of history, like what we saw with, say, Wolf, with a lot of those APAC and Korean players, while he was commentating alongside Achilleos in 2019 and 2020. So I'm very excited by this lineup. I love this lineup. I love this talent team. I cannot praise them enough. So that is my thoughts on this talent lineup. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your own personal thoughts. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, I hope you don't disagree with me because I think you would be wrong. But hey, that's up to you. Maybe you just don't. Maybe you miss Brennan's Sideshow too much. And you know what? There's not much I can do to convince you. But I'm incredibly excited to see this group that we have here. Excited for there to be 3 women in the commentary booth for the Overwatch League. That's amazing. It's incredible. And I'm so happy that we are finally getting to see some more diversity in the casting, which is absolutely incredible. One of the best things that the Overwatch League has been able to do in recent times is really hitting some very, very good commentators and adding some more diversity to the group, which is very nice to see. Anyway, that's going to be all for me for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more like it in the future, consider liking and subscribing. But until next time, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. And until next time, bye-bye.